March 26, 2019. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. The fourth miracle verse of the 6 miracle verses of Sureh Anbia, Surah number 21. This is verse 33. It states, "And he is who has created the night and the day, and the sun and the moon, each moving in an orbit." Discussion. The earth has nights and days. It also moves around, turns around itself, and while doing that, it moves around. Turning around itself takes 24 hours. About half of that is the night and the other half is the day. At the same time, the earth moves around the sun, which each circle of the earth around the sun takes 1 year. When the earth moves around itself, about half of it, at each time, about half of it does not receive the sunshine, and that is the night, and the other half receives the sunlight, and that is the daytime. This is an important blessing of God for us. There are several other planets that move around the sun. Total, there are 8 of them with the earth, and neither of them has life in it. Now I talk about the day and night. There are many other planets which move around the other stars. The other stars are their suns, and that these planets do not move around themselves. All the time, one side of them is towards that star and gets heat and light, and the other side is dark and does not receive light. The side which is towards the that star becomes very hot, and the other side becomes very, very icy cold, and that is not that is incompatible with the higher life. Also, the sun and the moon are very important for us. In the daytime, the earth receives not only light but also heat from the sun. And with the exact distance that it has from the sun, the heat is enough for living creatures and especially for the human being. The moon is also very important for us. There are dozens of moons around the other planets that circle around them, but other planets of that, like the Earth, move around the sun. But our moon is the largest of them, and this large size is very important. I will explain briefly about that. The moon, with the distance that it has now from the Earth, at night, because of its attraction force, raises the water of the ocean, and the water goes a few yards into the inside the earth, and that is useful for natural plants to grow. And in the daytime, the water recedes there in the ocean. When the earth was created and was too young, because the crust of the earth was not very thick at that time, there were thousands of active volcanoes around the earth that constantly they were producing gas coming from the inside of the earth. And there was about 1,000 lightnings in each hour. Because of these lightnings, some of the chemicals that had come out of the volcanoes would react with each other chemically, and this way the amino acids, among other things, amino acids were produced. And this amino acid with the rain would go on the earth and in the sea. The sea part is important on it. Amino acids are the material that when they combine to each other, they make proteins. At the earliest stages, the moon was very close to us. And at night, instead of raising the ocean water a few yards, it would raise it a few miles. So the water would go on a vast area of the land. In the daytime, this water would recede in the ocean, but any area of the land which was deeper than the other sides, the water would remain in it. In these areas, some of them had stones, and some of them had mud. Among the muds, clay is very important. Clay caused the life to come into existence. Clay is sticky, and anything that is close to it, it will stick it, it will absorb it. And there are microscopic pouches inside of it. So the clay would attract the amino acids and take them into its pouches where they would be condensed, and in that area would come more in contact by each other. And with this contact, the proteins and also the DNA, which is one of the proteins, was produced. Protein is the material which is mostly in meat, and for the body of the animals and human being is important. And DNA is the building block. DNA can reproduce itself. This way, the viruses and bacteria came into existence. Although most of the viruses have RNA, that is another material like DNA. But these RNAs and DNAs would make mostly bacteria. These DNAs could reproduce themselves, and this way the life came into existence. So this way the life came into existence, then the bushes, trees, animals, and finally human being came into existence. There are 8 planets circling around the sun, but Earth is the only one that has life on it. The other ones do not have. Recently, they have found a 9th planet, and because it is too far from us, they have not been able to see it yet. Scientists have found more than 2,500 more planets around the other stars which are close to us. And scientists believe, but they have not been able to prove it yet, they believe that all the stars have planets around them. Among these more than 2,500 planets, the Earth which is circling around our sun, the Earth is the only planet that has life on it. Scientists so far have not been able to find life on any other planet. The last part of this verse states, the night and the day, and the sun and the moon are all moving in an orbit. Discussion about this part. In the early ages, the scientists thought that the earth is flat and the sun moves around the earth. But this verse shows that the earth is a sphere, because the only way that the night and the day move in an orbit is for the earth to be a sphere. There are other verses in Quran also that show that the earth is a sphere. For example, verse 5 of Sureh Zomar, that is Surah number 39, it states, He rolls the night over the day and rolls the day over the night. The Arabic word that has been used here is yukabbiru. Yukabbiru means to roll up over a sphere. To roll over a sphere. So everything that this verse states is according to the science and is a blessing for us. Also, as the verse states, the sun and the moon each move in an orbit. Discussion about this part. I talked about the orbit of the night and day, orbits of night circling around the day and day circling around the sun, around the night. Now I will talk about the sun and the moon moving in an orbit. The sun moves around the Milky Way galaxy. Milky Way galaxy is very, very large. It contains 200 billion stars. Each billion, I have said before, is 1,000 millions. And it has a large black hole at the center of it. The sun moves very fast around the Milky Way galaxy. But this galaxy is, as I said, too large, and it takes over 2 million years for the sun to move once, to circle once the Milky Way galaxy. The moon also moves in an orbit. It moves around the earth and along with the earth, moving along with the earth, it moves along the sun. Each circle of earth and the moon, which is with it around the sun, takes 1 year. I think it is enough to talk about this verse, that everything that it said is according to the science that we have now. Thank you and God bless you.